I've long considered Final Fantasy X to be my all time favorite Final Fantasy game, and I wasn't actually planning to replay Final Fantasy X for what I believe to be the 12th time at this point. It just kind of happened. I was looking for a comfort game, and it's actually been quite a long time since I've played what I consider to be one of my all time favorite games. So I started the game up again in 2025, sat back, and before I knew it, I was back to listening to Waka go on about Blitzball, watching Yuna smile through exhaustion and trying to remember if I had ever really appreciated just how weird and beautiful this game truly is. Somewhere along the way during this playthrough, I realized, yeah, this is still my favorite Final Fantasy, not just because of nostalgia, not just because of the music or the characters or the fact that it hit me at exactly the right time in my life, but because even now, it holds together in a way that a lot of games just don't. It has this clarity, this confidence in what it wants to be. That said, it's also got a few things I could admittedly see that don't hold up as well. There are things I noticed this time around, things I may have missed before or just didn't care about back then. It's a more rigid game than I remembered. The pacing, the structure, the design, it all feels a little bit more guided than I'd expect from a JRPG. And while that's not really a bad thing, it stood out to me in a way it never did before. So, with all that said, this isn't just a huge celebration of my favorite game, it's a check in. I want to talk about what still works, what's aged gracefully, and what's shifted over time because going back to Final Fantasy X in 2025 isn't just about reliving a favorite, it's about seeing it with new eyes. So, with all that said, let's get into it. It didn't hit me immediately, but a few hours into this replay, I found myself thinking, wow, this game really doesn't let go of your hand. You finish one area, get to a cutscene, maybe a tutorial or two, then it's off to the next zone, and you keep doing that for quite a long time. There's no world map, no real opportunity to backtrack early on, and almost no side content until you're well into kind of the second half of the game. It's one long trail of sorts from point A to point B. A beautifully lit, emotionally charged trail with a combat system that kind of carries those random battles along the way, but it is a little linear nonetheless. But honestly, the thing is, it works here. It really does. I played a lot of RPGs in the years since Final Fantasy X first came out, games that beg you to get lost in them, that throw you into massive worlds with question marks around every hilltop. I mean, even Final Fantasy is doing that at this point with Rebirth, and after all that, going back to something like this feels focused and really refreshing, actually. When I was younger, I didn't even think about it. I was so locked into the story, so eager to see what happened next, that I didn't care that it didn't have this big focus on exploration. I didn't miss open fields or hidden caves because the path ahead was always giving me something new enemies, new lore, new story. But now, with so many games training me to roam around, I did catch myself wishing for just a little more room to breathe. That said, the linearity in Final Fantasy X isn't just a design choice, I think. It's a thematic one. You're on a pilgrimage, a literal spiritual journey with a clear destination. The structure of the game reflects that. You're not supposed to wander around. You're supposed to keep moving forward, just like Yuna. And in that sense, this is kind of brilliant. But I think it's fair to say that it makes the game feel smaller now. Not in a bad way, but in a very specific way. You're not discovering the world through exploration, you're discovering it through the characters and the world building. That's where the depth is, I think. So yeah, it's a bit on the more linear side, unapologetically so, but it knows what it's doing. And if you meet it on its terms, it absolutely works. You just have to let go of that modern instinct to have open worlds and wandering around with all these side quests to do. Now, with my only real gripe of the game aside, you know what really surprised me? How good the combat still feels. I was ready to be a little bored. Turn-based systems have come a long way since Final Fantasy X, but this battle system still feels sharp, still feels fast, and it's really very fun. There's a simplicity to it that hides how flexible it really is. You've got this clean turn order system and it just works. You can see who's going when, and that little timeline on the side of the screen becomes this ongoing puzzle. Can I delay this enemy? Can I squeeze in a heal before they strike again? But the real magic is in the party swapping. Mid battle, you can tag characters in and out like you're managing a sports team. It sounds small, but it opens everything up. If you have a flying enemy, call in Waka. Need some black magic, swap in Lulu. And let's be honest, Lulu is the mainstay here. I don't think I ever took her out of my party, but overall, This is intuitive, and more importantly, it encourages you to use the whole party. Every character has a role, and you're constantly rotating them to fit the enemies you're facing off against. That's something I think a lot of games have moved away from: specialization. These days, RPG characters tend to be jacks of all trades, but in Final Fantasy X, your party isn't really that interchangeable. You know what each of them is good at, and you build your strategy around that. And that's very satisfying. Even 20 hours in, I was still excited to see what I could do. The rhythm of it just feels right. The battles never dragged for me either, even when I was fighting the same enemies over and over for long stretches while grinding. That's a testament to how well tuned everything is. Now, moving on to what I truly love about a great JRPG, and that's the progression system. Let's talk about the Sphere Grid. This thing is still one of my favorite RPG progression systems. It looks overwhelming at first, for sure. I mean, just pop that thing open and you're like, what even is this? It's like some kind of celestial circuit board, but once it clicks, it really clicks. You're not just leveling up, you're carving a path through a giant glowing web, making tiny decisions that add up over time. Watching it fill out is infinitely satisfying. There's a real sense of ownership in it. You're deciding where each character goes, what stats they focus on, what abilities they unlock. Early on, the paths are guided. Yuna's the white mage, Lulu gets all the elemental spells, but later in the game, it opens up. You can send Oron down Wakka's path, you can teach others white magic, you can break the system wide open if you want to. And even though it's slow, there's no instant gratification, it's still satisfying. Like putting together a puzzle you've chosen to shape yourself. It also adds a kind of intimacy to your party. You don't just watch them get stronger, you help them grow. Every +2 to strength or +200 to HP is something you earned, one note at a time. It creates this really tangible sense of progression. Even now, after seeing skill trees in pretty much every game under the sun, the Sphere Grid still holds up. It's just that tactile, that personal, and honestly, just that rewarding. The cast of characters here are phenomenal, and it's where the game really wins me over. It's not that the plot is just this groundbreaking thing. It's a pilgrimage story, a save the world story, but the characters make it something else. They feel real, messy, and flawed at times. Titus annoys some people. He's loud, emotional, kind of bratty at times, but I see him differently. He's not your typical hero. He's a kid ripped out of everything he knows, trying to make sense of a world that has so many new things building up around him. And he pushes against it. He asks the questions nobody else wants to. He's earnest and likable. I also love the narration he adds to the overall story beats to help you connect with how he's feeling throughout the different turning points in the story. And Yuna, her quiet strength gets me every time. She's so calm, so composed, but you can really see the sadness behind her smile. You can feel how much it costs her to carry the hope of everyone around her. She's not flashy, she's steady. And in a game about sacrifice, that honestly means everything. Even the rest of the party, Waka, Lulu, Oron, they all bring something essential. They feel like real people reacting to impossible circumstances in their own ways. Waka's stubborn faith, Lulu's guarded compassion, Oren's quiet wisdom. They're not perfect, but they're sincere, and that sincerity still stands and holds up really, really well in this game. Replaying Final Fantasy X in 2025 was the first time that I truly felt different playing this game. The last time I replayed the game was on my PS Vita maybe 7 or 8 years ago, so I feel like with that large of a gap, I was able to come back, look at it with new eyes and a new perspective. So to answer the question I posed in this video, is Final Fantasy X still my favorite game? Now I've gone back and forth with this a little bit as I played through it, but as I got further into the game, I realized a few things. First, this game holds up probably better than any other game in the series. The art direction, soundtrack, combat system, and story all rival any new game releasing today. As for modern Final Fantasy, I think 7 Remake and Rebirth are really pushing the series forward in a lot of great ways, but I just can't shake the fact that 10 just feels like this incredibly cohesive and complete piece of work. It's still my favorite Final Fantasy game, and honestly, one of my all-time favorite pieces of media. That includes movies, books, games, you name it. Final Fantasy X is immaculate. Now, do I think it's perfect? No, it's not. The linearity is more noticeable now than ever. Some parts of the story are a little over-explained, while others move a little too fast. But these things are minor, and to be honest, are just examples of me nitpicking because when I step back and look at the whole picture, it still feels like the game that knew exactly what it wanted to be. It's not trying to be everything, it's just telling one story with one cast and one world that feels so real. And I love that. So if you haven't played Final Fantasy X in a while, or if you've never played it at all, it's definitely still worth your time, especially now. You might see things in it that you missed before, and maybe like me, you'll come away feeling a little bit older, a little bit wiser, and a lot more grateful for the journey it takes you on. Anyway, that's it for me in this one. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like and subscribe for more JRPG content like this. It really helps out the channel. I love going back and revisiting some of my favorite games, so with that said, let me know in the comments. Is there a game you'd like me to go back to? I'd love to do more videos like these. Also, let me know if you've gone back and played Final Fantasy X recently, and if so, let me know what you think. I look forward to reading your comments, and until next time, I'm out.